and that single camera setup. And like I've said before, even with this iPhone SE, it's going to give you really decent photos for the price tag. I said the same exact thing for the iPhone 6s. Don't expect to get like the best looking photos or anything, but for a 2016 device, that use the same camera as a 2015 device, I actually don't think it's that bad. Now it's a single 12 megapixel sensor. You can do 4K at 30 on it. And like I stated before, it's a good camera setup for the most part. But if you're expecting to get like the best quality for the bang of buck or whatever, I think you might want to look elsewhere. I think even like the iPhone 10, even the iPhone 8, had a really good camera setup, iPhone 7 Plus included. I think this phone did a really good job at the time. But again, this is a smaller form factor. That is something that I really do like. And the fact that you have 4K 30 is really awesome. I'm glad they didn't tap it out at like 1080p or something like the iPhone 6 did. They put that same camera setup on the back that the flagship at the time had. And I have a lot of respect for Apple for doing that. And I never forgot that. Now, for the most part, it doesn't have, a crazy telephoto lens or ultra wide sensor, but I think for a majority of people, they understand that. And I think, like I said before, the biggest selling point will probably be the form factor. Now, on the front, however, this is probably one of my, most disliked aspects of this device. Now, it has a 1.2 megapixel camera, and you can do HD videos on it, but there's nothing else like, you can't do 4K on that, which is totally okay. But it's not that great of a sensor. Me personally, if the back camera was, god awful, I would have probably made a big deal about it too. But if that front camera was amazingly like one of the best ones ever, then I would probably be okay with it, because I use my front camera way more than I use my back camera. Literally for FaceTimes, for Zoom calls, for all sorts of things. I'm using my front camera all the time. And for a majority of people out there, I'm sure that's the case too. So this phone, it doesn't have the best looking front facing camera, but I think for a majority of people, like I stated before, it probably will be okay, and they understand that. If this was a phone that just came out in 2020, then I would make it a bigger deal, but this was a 2016 phone, so I kind of get where they were coming from at that point. And even in 2020, it still functions and everything, which is totally okay. So I think in terms of the camera, it's definitely okay, but one of the bigger changes we've had since even early on this year, the mid 2020 review I did of this phone would definitely